yes, I am back to my true form. My hair looks a little bit frizzy today, but that's okay. That's not why we're here. So today marks 1 year. One. Is there a hair on my face? Oh my god, that's so annoying. What the heck? Okay. That is rude. That is so rude. Okay. We're doing this. Okay. We're not off to the best start here. But that's a metaphor for my ear. So, today marks 1 year. One year since I moved to Portland to go to Portland State University. And as some of you guys know, I dropped out a few months later. So, what inspired this video? Well, simply Neological did. So what happened is that I watched this video that she did where she was watching back to school hacks and beauty tutorials. And it was really interesting because a lot of these influencers, they were making school seem like a real drag and like a inconvenience. And it made me think about my influence. And obviously, I don't have a huge following. We are a very, 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 very small community here. But my story times are kind of my most popular videos for whatever reason. I don't know why. But it made me think about my influence, and yeah, it really made me think about my influence. And I have something to say about dropping out of college specifically. And I just want to say that I feel like dropping out, a lot of times it's really glorified. A lot of times when we think about dropouts, college dropouts, we think about really successful people, like the guy who started Facebook, or I don't know who else, but we often think about successful people. And that's awesome because college isn't for everyone, and I think that can really teach us that it's not everyone's path. But it's also kind of concerning because that doesn't mean that everyone can be super successful because they dropped out of college. Some people do need to stick to it to have a successful career or a successful life. So I want to talk about my reality and how it's been for the past, since January mostly. And I have talked about some things. You guys know that I, my ex and I, he's my ex now, and that's been a really big thing. But there's been more. It's not just that, and I want to talk about it. I want to show you guys that dropping out isn't always this cool, happy thing. It's actually really hard, and reality can suck. but it's okay. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you want to know why I dropped out, I will link my story time about that down below in the description box. And then if you do know, cool, we're all cut up. But basically, a really quick summary of that is that this day I moved to Portland to go to Portland State. I lived on campus, and probably like a few weeks in, I realized that I was really, 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 really unhappy. But my family and my then boyfriend were big encouragements in my life, if that makes sense. But they would just always encourage me to keep going. But I was really miserable. I even lost a ton of weight without fully realizing it. And then when I came back in December to visit for the holidays, I never went back. It took me pretty much less than 24 hours to realize that this is where I belonged for now. So, end of story for now. So what happened after I dropped out? So I think I don't watch my own videos, okay? So I don't specifically remember what I say in them. But I think that when I did my college dropout story time, I still hadn't told my parents yet about it. So basically they were upset. They were very disappointed because for them, that was the next step for me. You know, that for them guaranteed my success, or a successful life. I obviously disagree with that, but that was their dream for me. But that was it. It was their dream for me. It wasn't really mine. I was so unhappy, and I want to just say this, that even though things went to shit after I dropped out, like officially dropped out, like did the paperwork and shit, I do not regret it one bit. I do not regret it at all. It is still the best choice that I made for myself. And right at this very moment, I don't think I'm ever gonna return to school because it just made me so miserable. I spent so much time just in bed, being someone that I'm not, and just so many unhealthy habits started there. So here's what happened. So I knew that once I dropped out, I had about 6 months, like 6 months to save up money, and because basically after those 6 months were done, I was gonna have to start paying my loan that I took out to go to school. Luckily, it was just one term, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And unfortunately, I felt very financially unstable. I just felt like utter crap when it came to my financial state. I am really lucky because even though I felt very insecure financially, I've always had the job that I have right now, where I do social media. So that was always something that was kind of comforting. But I still felt like crap. And unfortunately, these crappy feelings really also were affecting my work here. And I say here because I'm currently in the office, as some of you know. But it became like this really stressful thing, and I just didn't feel, even though it was a thing that I should have been motivated about, I I just felt like crap. And here's the thing. I remember that when I came back, all I wanted to do was to spend time with my loved ones. I just wanted to like hang out, because I missed them so damn much, and I didn't want to do anything else. And I really just let my job I feel like I didn't do the work that I really could do, if that makes sense. And yeah, I just felt very low about myself, and then even though I don't regret my decision about dropping out, there was still this feeling in my head where I was like, I didn't do it, I failed. And my parents' reactions were not helpful and making me feel otherwise, unfortunately. But I'm also lucky because I had friends who were very, very supportive of my choice, and they, understood and were behind me. So I'm so happy that I have those people that I can call friends. So I'm really lucky about that, but I still felt very down. I felt like, for almost a whole year I worked for that, and then for it to just go to shit, for me to just give up, it felt crappy, to say the least. So I just wasn't feeling good, but I was happy that I was here with people that I loved, like I said, and I was really lucky to have my ex. I thought that, at the time we were both going through some crappy shit, and I thought we could get through this together. We could be together, and at the end it'll be fine. Well, that wasn't really what happened, because into January we broke up, and I should probably say this. Basically, he dumped me. He broke up with me. I still have really raw feelings about that, and I don't. It's weird because I remember always telling myself that, would it have happened if I had gone to Portland? And I hated myself because I thought that I shouldn't have gone, because our relationship would have been better. And here's the thing. I think it would have happened regardless, but I think my time in Portland definitely sped things up, if that makes sense. I think, because my time in Portland was not easy for us. There was a lot of bullshit, and I don't know if I mentioned this in my story time, but I felt super insecure when I was out there. And obviously some of those feelings continued when I came back. And there was just a lot of shit that we both did that just resulted in this ugly mess. And it sucked. It really, really sucked, because like I said, I thought that he was going to stick by my side during this time that I needed him, Like, I thought that I needed him, I should say. And unfortunately, I did not take our breakup very well. It broke me. It broke my fucking heart, obviously. And even though I understood it, and it was ultimately, I think, a good choice for the both of us, I really wish, obviously that it didn't happen. And for a long time, for months, I just was thinking so much about it. It was like almost every minute I was thinking about it. Thinking about things I wish I had done different, things that I wish I had said to him. All this stuff. And it just made me feel like crap. And this also affected my work. And I just wasn't really proud of anything that I was doing. And during this time, I got a second job. Second job. In retail. I worked for a furniture store. And it was really, really boring. And I remember that they warned me that it was like a very slow job. And I thought, oh, it's fine. Like, I'll find something to do. You guys, there was literally nothing to do. Like, I exhausted everything at some shifts. And then, like, I still had like 5 more hours of nothing. It was awful. To top it off, I still had my other job here. And it was exhausting, to say the least. And I was taking the bus to this retail job. And luckily, my job here, even though we have a location, I work remotely, probably like 85% of the time. And so I wasn't like, so that helped. But the bus ride was awful. It was more than an hour long. It was probably almost like 2 hours long every day to the job and back. And it just was exhausting. And I remember that when I started, I was very optimistic. And I remember thinking, oh, on the bus rides, I'll just do some of my social media work. Makes sense, right? You guys, I was so fucking tired that I couldn't even do that. I remember that on the bus ride back home mostly, I was so exhausted. Like, I would literally like doze off in the bus, which I had never done before, but I did, and it sucked. So it was really, really awful. Well, then one day, I had to work on a particular Sunday, and that Sunday happened to be my only nephew's birthday, his first birthday, mind you. And I asked one of the managers if I could, if I could switch with someone or like change. Like, I forgot what exactly I asked, but I asked if it was possible that I could not work that day. She told me no, but she told me that I could ask someone to change shifts. Unfortunately, the other shifts that I could have taken, they just weren't working with my other schedule too. It was just like, for whatever reason, it was really hard to see if someone else could work that specific shift. So I thought to myself, well, fuck, I'm just not gonna go to work. It was just a retail job that I was additional income, but it wasn't something that I was passionate about or really cared about, to be honest. And yeah, so I went to my nephew's birthday party and didn't go to work, and I felt kind of awful, but at the same time I was like, I'm not gonna miss my nephew's first birthday party. Sorry, like, I'm just not. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just not gonna go back. So I didn't go back without telling them, which is awful, and I am not a good example, okay? I'm just not. Do not follow my example. That is a really bad thing to do. But I did that, and I felt like shit for doing that. But it was really exhausting. It was taking up way too much energy, and then for the amount that I was making, it just wasn't really worth it for me. Of course, that's for me. And like I've said, I had this other job still in social media where I do make a reasonable amount, and this is my primary income, and so I wasn't too worried about it. So yeah, I just basically just quit without telling them anything, which is awful. Don't do that. Do not do that. I am not the best influence, okay? Do not do that. Okay. So that was that. That happened like in April, I think. No, that was March, end of March. And then my parents were happy that I had another job, right? Even though it was retail, and then telling them that I wasn't doing that anymore was also kind of like, what? Like, they were just full of disappointment. So I decided to focus mainly on my social media work, and I feel like April is when things started to change for me in my career. It's when I really started to focus a lot more than I was before. I started to feel more motivated and happy that I was doing this. I really do love what I do, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love that I can be creative, and I also love that I have the freedom to create what I want and do what I see fit. I love that my boss has that trust in me. I really appreciate it, like, a lot. And my job, it's funny because, so I was going to Portland State to get a degree in communications to do what I currently do. And that's one of the reasons why I felt justified to drop out, was because I already work in the field that I wanted to get into anyway. I already have like 3 years experience of doing this, working in marketing. And I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I felt like my love for it was coming back, because I felt like I was, like I said, like I was really losing myself. And being creative just really sparked something in me. Well, then, so things were still a little bit rough. I was still unsure about financial things, still being done with the money. And then I started to pick up a pretty crappy habit, and that was drinking alone. So I wasn't doing this on a daily basis. I was probably doing this like on a weekly basis, where I would, mostly during the weekends, of course, I would buy like some Four Locos and just drink myself till I was fucking wasted on my bed, on the comfort of my bed. And I don't think it was the best habit to form. And I was doing it because I was feeling so shitty about myself, and drinking, like, as weird as it sounds, as like, I don't know, like, it just kind of made me feel better. Like, it made me feel numb. Like, during this time, I just felt free, if that makes sense. And all of this resulted in me getting completely wasted with my friends at the end of May. And this wouldn't have been a really huge issue if it wasn't for the fact that my mom saw me wasted. And for me, I don't know why, but I have always, like, my parents know that I drink. My parents, by the way, do not drink. Sometimes they'll drink like a glass of wine when they're like with family or something, but that's about it. My drinking habits for them are like awful. So they know about that, but they've never seen me drunk because I've never wanted that. Like, I never wanted them to see me like completely wasted or whatever. Like, that's just blah, you know. And there's been times where I get pretty drunk, but I come home like okay enough to, like, you know, be fine. But this time it wasn't like that. And my mom saw me that way and she was so upset, and I got really upset with myself. And I started to think, what am I doing with myself? And so then June came, and for whatever reason, all of these feelings, all of the things that happened before then, you know, since January, I started to think about it like really deeply, and I isolated myself from everyone. I spent a lot of time at home, barely doing anything, just thinking, thinking. And so I just thought and thought about everything. And then I realized I wanted to write things out. So I started my blog. And the first post that I wrote actually never got posted. It was just kind of like just me reflecting on what the past months had been. And I realized that, you know, one of the things that was bothering me was that I felt different. I didn't feel like myself anymore, and it made me feel like shit. I thought, you know, fuck everything. All of this made me someone that I'm not, and it's gross, and I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel different. But writing everything out, I realized that it would be ridiculous if I didn't feel different after everything that I went through in the past year. All of the mental hurdles. I had to change. It's natural that after all of this shit, I would change and become someone else, someone more different, and who's learned more, you know, who has experienced life a little bit more. And that made me feel better. It made me stop reflecting on the past, on my time in college and my time in my relationship. I just started to be, or to feel, more grateful for that time, even though things didn't go the way that I had thought they were going to go or had wanted them to go. I was still really grateful for that time because I wouldn't have learned otherwise. So end of June, I returned back to the office. I hadn't been to the office in weeks, and I was so happy to see my coworkers, my friends, and I felt like I was setting myself up for a really great beginning, like a new beginning. And sure enough, like in July, things started to change. I got a slight raise at my job. I got additional work at my job as well with another department. And my channel has been doing pretty good. I've been creating, I've been creative, and like I said, being creative has been a really big thing for me, and it's, you know, it's a way for me to express myself. It's a way for me to just let people know what's going on. It's so many things. And I'm so grateful that I have you guys, because I think I might have mentioned this before, but my channel and everyone that I've met through my channel has been probably one of the biggest motivations that I've had. It's just, you guys have been, you know, every like that I get, every comment, everything, it means something to me. And during this time where I was trying to figure myself out, figure shit out, my channel was the one thing that I had that was stable. And it's just I'm going to cut out all the times they're crying in this video. Basically, you guys have just been so awesome, and probably haven't realized how much you have meant to me in the past year. I am just so grateful to have you in my life. And things are good now. I feel a little bit more financially stable now. I am better with my money now. I'm trying to make changes in my life where I'm trying to make eco-conscious changes in my life are helping me make better financial choices as well. And I feel happy. Like, I feel good. Like I said, never in this time did I regret dropping out of college. But especially now, I definitely don't regret dropping out of college. I'm doing good, you know, I'm doing what I love, and I have time to do another thing that I love, which is this channel. And I'm just really grateful, you know, I'm really grateful. It took months for me to get here, for sure, and it's gonna take me more months to get to the next stage of my life, but that's okay. I'm really grateful for what I have right now. I'm grateful for what I'm able to do. And, you know, I'm not like other college dropouts. I'm not a billionaire right now, you know. I'm still working to get there. To be honest, I don't want to be a billionaire. I want to live really humbly, very modest. But yeah, that's kind of my year in review, I think. Things are really good. Also, in terms of dating, I finally started to try again, because I completely forgot to mention this, but I did try to date right after my relationship, and it felt very exhausting and very forced. But now it doesn't feel as forced, but still exhausting, and I'm still not sure if I'm ready for it, to be honest, because I love myself right now. I love what I'm doing, and I feel like a man would just ruin that right now, you know what I mean? I feel like I just love what I'm doing with my life right now, and I want to stay focused with that. I want to stay focused on my work and my creative work and all of that good stuff, although it would be nice to have someone to like make out with, you know, but right now I really like how my life is set up, and I'm just really happy. I don't know if this is educational, if this is influential in any way, but I just want to talk about it, talk about how I was feeling, and just know that dropping out might be for you, or it might not be. Like I said, for me, a big thing about it is that I was already working in the field that I wanted to get into anyway. Maybe finding jobs, some jobs might be a little bit more difficult, and maybe I need to work a little bit extra harder than someone who has a bachelor's, school, especially if you're out of state. Keep in mind that you're probably homesick. There's a huge portion of that is homesickness. And also be aware that you are not alone. I remember there were so many times when I was in Portland that I felt so alone. But then I remember talking to my roommates, and they were all feeling similar things. And it was crazy because I thought I was alone, but really almost everyone in college probably feels that way. So I thought that was really interesting. And just, follow your heart. Things are definitely hard no matter what, but really listen to yourself, to your gut feeling of what makes you happy or not. For me, my gut feeling was telling me to get out of there because I was unhappy, and that's what I did, and I don't regret it. But that's just me. Everyone is different. Please keep that in mind. In school, it's definitely like I said, it's not for me and I hate it, but if it's for you, cool, go for it. If you need it for your dream, then go for it. Do it. I believe in you. I really do. So my camera is going to die right now, so I should probably end this video. I hope that you guys